I dig in the dirt. I got my spade, I got my hoe, I got my rake, and I'm ready to go.
G'day and welcome to the Garden Gurus. I'm Trevor Cochran. We've got a sensational program packed full of great gardening advice for you, filmed from all over Australia and a couple of international stories as well. For example, we're right here in Quebec, Canada. Now this is home to some of the most beautiful container gardening you're ever likely to see. Containerology is what it's all about. We'll show you how to create beautiful planters in your garden a bit later on in tonight's show. Let's not talk about it, let's get on with it.
Digging around.
Every year around this time, you'll see signs popping up in the neighbourhood saying people are opening their garden for the public to come and visit. Now, this is a terrific opportunity to check out the plants that grow well in your area. But not only that, you can talk to the owner about what makes their garden work so well. So it's a really good learning experience. Now, this is one of my favourite gardens. It's called Candied. It's an award winner and it's packed full of beautiful spring flowering shrubs that I just can't wait to show you. This is a sensational spring garden, and some of the plant highlights for me include the beautiful Japonica camellias, which can continue flowering well into October if you're in a cooler location. Camellias can flower for 9 months of the year in your garden if you carefully select your varieties. Sasanqua camellias are early season generally, with some varieties commencing bloom in late February, early March. Japonicas tend to run through the winter right into October or even early November in some places. And reticulata varieties, which have huge open flowers, can flower from August right through to the end of November. They do best when they're given a bit of protection from the sun, but also, most importantly, from the wind. Now, if you can do that and give them a slightly acidic soil, that's a pH for around 6 to 6.5, you are going to get sensational results. Another highlight for me are the truly beautiful deciduous magnolias. The Solangiana or tulip flower types are spectacular and produce flowers from the first growth out of winter. The star magnolia or stellata forms are amazing, and whilst you can get variations including soft pinks in the flower colours, my favourite remain the pure white. The display they put on the nude frame before leaves appear is truly beautiful. Deciduous magnolias prefer conditions very much like camellias and azaleas. If the soil's slightly acid, they're going to do really, really well. You can't let them dry out during the summer months, so keep them moist. And one thing that's really important is protecting them from strong winds. You do that, and you're going to end up with beautiful plants just like this. The varieties of plants that grow here are in some parts of Australia really difficult to grow, but there are things that the garden's owner has done that has allowed her success. The outside edges of the garden are made up of larger shrubs and even trees, and they act as a windbreak, baffling the breeze so it minimises water demand and use. Having a wooded area with lots of overhead trees shades parts of the garden, protecting some of the plants that are more sensitive to the extremes of summer sun. It's a clever way of protecting these plants. It also recognises that it's these conditions that the plants growing here would have experienced in their original habitat. Here are some of the other plant highlights that I love from Candied at the moment. Every year, Ilda plants everlasting seeds, and her early spring display is going to be superb this year. The climbers are often underestimated for their flowering beauty. Spring is the best time for the white potato creeper and jasmine polyanthum. They provide beautiful flowers and stunning perfume. And an old favourite for me is the rondelicia, a beautiful pink flowering shrub that's sweetly fragrant. If you'd like to check Candied out for yourself or maybe find an open garden near you, simply visit our website and check out the fact sheet. We'll give you all the links and contacts you need.
Well, spring is here, and the sudden heat can all of a sudden hit you. It can surprise you. So don't be one of those people that leave checking the health of your pool to the last minute. Do yourself a favour and follow these simple instructions, and green pools will be a thing of the past.
At the first sign of spring, double check that your chlorinator, pump and filter are all working correctly and adjust the running times to accommodate the whole family and the neighbours, of course. This will help prevent a green pool caused by a sudden onset of heat or extra swimmers, and it will go a long way to flushing out any problems with your equipment long before they become an urgent fix.
Take a sample of your pool water. You want to get that from about 45 centimetres deep into your pool, or at least up to your elbow. Take it down to your local pool works store and they can test it for all the critical elements in about 60 seconds.
Such a quick analysis means that you will know what your pool needs and you will be on track to getting your pool health back in order much faster than ever before, keeping you in the good books with your family. If all that seems a little bit too much like hard work, then get online or give Poolworks a call and they'll come poolside and organise a regular maintenance schedule for you. That way, when the warmer weather hits, you'll be ready to swim.
Springtime in the garden is a sensational time. New growth and, of course, stunning new flowers. Look at this plum. It is just smothered in flowers, and each one of these flowers could potentially be a fruit. The only thing is we need to be attracting bees into the garden. This is the time to do it, and it's really easy when you've got lots of flowering plants. So planting flowering plants now is a really good idea. Coming up after the break, more brilliant advice on the Garden Gurus.
If you'd like to get your hands on some of the great plants in the Touch of Class collection, check out the Touch of Class Facebook page. Enter their competition and you could be taking home a spring pack of 10 plants chosen for you by the experts.
Lomandras are a group of Australian plants that have really made their mark on gardens in recent years, and for good reason. They're tough, they look good in every season, and they're extremely versatile in the garden. So you can use them to create a decorative border, you might use them to contrast with broader-leaf plants in a landscape setting. They're great in decorative pots or to soften the edges of a path or a driveway. And these days there are so many varieties to choose from, but this one stands out as one of the best. This is a variety called Seascape, and the reason it shines out from the crowd is because of its dark blue-grey foliage and graceful weeping habit. It enjoys full sun or part shade and only gets to around 50 centimetres tall and 75 centimetres wide, the ideal height for a stunning border. And another thing which is really quite unexpected, the plant produces these lovely little yellow flowers that are actually really strongly scented. In fact, so much so that it literally fills the air with perfume. And how did it get the name Seascape? When the foliage moves in the breeze, it looks like a rippling ocean. This really is the ultimate low-maintenance plant. It copes well with frost and drought, and keeping it looking this good in every season is really easy. So just trim it back to ground level every so often to give it a fresh start. But my tip, plant it en masse in the garden for a stunning seaside look.
Edible flowers are all the rage right now. Top chefs use them to decorate everything from salads to desserts. And you can always find at least one pretty and edible flower in your local nursery to bring home and try growing yourself. Homegrown is the way to go. At least you know they haven't been sprayed with any nasties. You can eat edible flowers raw and au naturel, but here's a fun way to give them a bit more sparkle, and they make an ultimate cake decoration. With a few simple ingredients and a little bit of patience, you can make these pretty candied or crystallised flowers. Rose petals, violas, violets and borage flowers work well, and mint leaves are a great one to start on because they aren't too delicate. Lightly beaten egg white with a fork, just until bubbles start to form. Using a small, soft paintbrush, lightly coat both sides of the leaf, petal or flower. While the egg white is still wet, sprinkle both sides with caster sugar and set aside on a wire rack to dry. Drying will take 12 to 24 hours, depending on the flower or leaf and their atmospheric humidity. Once these flowers are 100% dry, they'll last for a few days in an airtight container. You can decorate your cakes just before serving them so that the flowers don't soften. There we go. How pretty is that?
How's this for a beautiful fruit tree? It's actually a mountain pawpaw from South America called a babaco. Being a hybrid, it doesn't produce seeds, so the fruit is actually seed-free. The flesh of this is tangy, very much like sherbet in its sort of tang on your tongue. Now, speaking of great recipes and unusual fruit that you could grow at home in your garden, this is the best way to get advice. This is called Delish from Garden to Table. It's packed full of great advice on different types of trees you can grow, as well as your old favourites. You can get it online at thegardengurus.tv for just $16.95 plus postage and handling. It's a great deal.
If you're after double the colour, then why not think about growing everlasting daisies that you can enjoy first in the garden and then inside the house, cut and dried for super long-lasting colour. For more colour ideas, stay with us right here on The Garden Gurus after the break.
How good would it be to have a consistently healthy pool?
Imagine having an energy-efficient pump, a robotic cleaner, a brand new sand filter, and a professional to install it all. And while we're dreaming, imagine having a year's worth of maintenance from Poolworks. Joe. Well, it doesn't have to be a dream at all. All this could be yours by simply going to the Garden Guru's website and telling us in 25 words or less what makes you a healthy pool person. Then this healthy pool prize pack worth $6,000 could be yours thanks to our friends at Poolworks.
It happens every time this time of year. You go to use the hose, you turn it on, and oh no, you've got a big split in it. Now, this commonly happens through the colder months, but you can't let the hose leak. You're going to waste a heap of water. So I'm going to have to get a replacement. Now, if you were to head down to your local Bunnings warehouse, you'd be a little bit daunted by the huge range that's on offer. So I'm going to road test 3 of the very best from the leader in the industry, Holman Industries. Holman's multi-purpose garden hose is a good quality garden hose that suits the basic requirements for most garden situations. The hose comes in either a standard 12mm diameter or an 18mm diameter, which is ideal for those of us with huge gardens to deal with. The 12mm multi-purpose hose also comes fitted with plastic fittings and is ready to attach straight to the tap, which is kind of convenient. This one here is the top of the range hose. This is about as good as you're ever going to get. Aptly named the eye hose for intelligent. Now, it's intelligent for this reason. If you have a look at the wall of the hose here, you can see there's a knitting in it. This gives it added flexibility, but most importantly, great strength. It's not going to split and it doesn't kink, so you can't really get this hose to sort of kink and block water flow. It comes with quality Holman fittings and a 12-year guarantee. If you live in an area with higher pressure, iHose also has superior flexibility and increased burst pressure resistance, giving you a superior hose with a long life performance. My landscape team rely on the heavy-duty tradesman hose when they're working on site. These hoses tend to handle wear and tear on work sites much better than domestic garden hoses. Now, this will tolerate getting run over, dragged around, and it's ideal for projects that are just a bit more rugged. Now, the metal fittings are much more durable and they work so much better in protecting your hose as well. Now, my advice to you is make sure you get a good quality hose. These kink-resistant hoses, the ones with the improved hose walls, they're not going to split and they're absolutely fantastic around the garden. Another bit of advice, make an investment. Get a hose reel or, you know, a retractable hose reel. You can't go wrong. These things keep the hose up off the ground, stop it being run over, stop it being dragged and damaged. They are absolutely brilliant. A good quality hose makes the world of difference and you can save thousands of litres of water if you invest in one now.
Hedges in your garden define a space, create rooms, provide windbreaks or screen your neighbours. Take a walk around your local streets to see hedges in all shapes and forms. We often don't think about using hedges in pots, which is strange because they work particularly well in small or tight spaces. On patios or balconies like this one, they can be used to hide anything that you'd rather not make a feature of, like the kids' sand pit, an ugly air conditioning unit, or just a bland brick wall. A hedge, by definition, is essentially closely growing bushes or shrubs. But how close is too close? On the other hand, too far apart and your hedge will look bare and patchy. The dimensions of this pot mean that these fairy magnolias are going to be planted a little closer together than's recommended on the label. But because we're after an instant screening effect, it's exactly what we need. Because these plants are tightly planted, they'll form a hedge quickly. However, they'll also compete with each other for nutrients. So it's important to dose them every month with a liquid fertiliser like Power Feed that's packed with the essential nutrients these little guys need to fill out into a lush and dense hedge. But a self-watering pot helps to take care of this problem because each plant gets a fair dose. Now my gardening things are going to be neatly hidden behind this gorgeous flowering hedge. The pots look stylish and are tough and durable. Being a self-watering pot, they have a water well in the base. This retains water that has passed through the soil and would have been wasted. The clever design means this water can be returned to the plant via capillary action, slowly wicking up back into the soil to be available to the plant's roots. This means no wasted water at all, and because your plants never stress in hot conditions, they won't suffer from leaf drop, which would be disastrous if you have a potted hedge for screening purposes. In a large pot, these fairy magnolias will reach a height of around 2 metres and produce lightly fragrant flowers from March to May. Their dark green foliage will quickly become a dense hedge that you can move around to screen whatever you want. This week's containerology lesson featured the Sorrento Oblong plant pot from Decor Gardens' self-watering plant pots range. You'll find more details on Sorrento's colours, sizes and stockists at decor.com.au.
Now, bringing flowering plants into the garden does a lot of good for several different reasons. And if you take a look at this beautiful Hardenbergia now, it's absolutely smothered in bees. Now, the bees are great for pollination, and to have this near my veggie garden, that's another good reason to be putting lots of flowering plants around the outside of your edible garden. Coming up after the break, more great gardening advice on the Garden Gurus.
Have you thought about making the switch to getting energy free from the sun? Well, compliments of Garden Gurus and Solar Heart, you could win one of 3 prize packs valued at up to $5,000. The prize includes your choice of a Solar Heart solar water heater or a Solar Heart power PV system, and the prize includes installation. All you have to do is head to our website and answer the question, what is Solar Heart's slogan? It's that easy, and before you know it, you could be enjoying energy free from the sun.
Continuing our highlights of fabulous gardens to visit around the world, this week we're sharing the magnificent Van Dusen's Gardens in Vancouver, Canada. Van Dusen's is considered one of the most beautiful gardens in North America. And if you're in Vancouver, it's well worthwhile taking the option to visit. The Botanical Garden covers over 55 acres in the heart of Vancouver, and it has one of the world's great plant collections in it, with over 7,300 plant families. Its backdrop is the city of Vancouver, one of the world's most beautiful cities, and your starting point when you're taking a trip to Canada. To get there, you need to travel with the experts who know Canada best, Scenic Tours. A scenic tour is designed to provide luxury travel with every option in a tour that's flexible and allows you to see what you want to see along the journey. Scenic Tours have a 22-day tour of the Rockies West Coast, which includes an Alaskan cruise, and it takes in Vancouver and then heads out on the Rocky Mountaineer train to Banff, Lake Louise, Jasper, Sun Peaks and Whistler before returning to Vancouver Island and the capital of BC, Victoria. The tour then cruises in luxury up to Skagway and Glacier Bay in Alaska, opening up spectacular scenery. This is a holiday you'll never forget, and you enjoy luxury all the way, including staying in the stylish Fairmont hotels. A trip with Scenic is all-inclusive. All activities, including sightseeing, are covered in your upfront cost. Even tipping is included. The tours are set up so you can go at a leisurely pace, and you have freedom to tailor your tour to add extra experiences to suit exactly what you want to do. Book now and you'll fly free to Canada, just pay taxes, and Scenic will also give you a free night's accommodation before or after your tour. Visit scenictours.com.au or call 1300 Scenic, that's 1300 723 642. If you loved the winter edition of the Garden Guru magazine, I've got some great news. The spring edition's out now, and on the cover, you'll actually see a beautiful blue Aquilegia. Now, the magazine is packed full of great local gardening advice, and just like the Aquilegia, there's lots of sensational plants being featured in this edition. We are also visiting some beautiful gardens from around the world: Greece, South Korea and Ireland. You don't want to miss it. You're going to find it in your local Bunnings store or in your local reliable newsagent. They all carry it, and it's only $7.95. It's out now, don't miss it.
Have you ever wondered how to get water onto your garden straight from your tank at a nice constant pressure, just as if you're watering straight from the tap? Well, that's exactly what this little unit is designed for. Now, this is called a constant pressure pump, and at the heart of this unit is an 800-watt induction motor and a very efficient pump, which delivers a large volume of water at constant pressure, which is ideal for watering the garden evenly and consistently. It's quite simple, really. The water is drawn in through this suction inlet, passes through the pump control unit and is then discharged here at a constant pressure. It's also got an 8-metre lift, which means that if your water source is much lower than the pump, like say an underground water tank, it can still easily draw the water out. But that's not all that this pump can do. You can use it to apply water at constant pressure for applications like flushing the toilet or doing the laundry or washing the car. You could even use it to transfer or circulate water from a dam or a pond. But just remember, it's not suitable for use with drinking water or any fluid other than water. With a maximum head of 40 metres, it can take the water from down there to here in a matter of seconds. So it's the perfect solution for sloping sites. And with a flow rate of 3,600 litres per hour, it can deliver an impressive volume of water. The setup isn't difficult, but you do need to think about a couple of things. Now, firstly, you want to make sure that your pipe is matched to the pump. In other words, don't use a pipe or fittings that are too small because you might restrict the performance of the unit. I would also use a pre-filter and a non-return valve, just to stop any stones or solid debris from being sucked into the pump. When you hear the word pump, you think noise. But this little machine operates quietly and it's durable, so you'll get a long life out of it. Before operating the pump, you'll just need to prime it. So make sure you fill this compartment here with water and then lock off the plug and you're ready to go. It's also got thermal overload protection, which means that if the unit is at risk of overheating, the whole thing will shut down automatically to protect the internal components. All in all, this is a brilliant little device.
Well, that's it for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. Hey, how's this for a brilliant idea? This is the black-eyed Susan. Now, it can be a bit of a pest if you let it grow wild in your backyard, but grow it in a hanging basket, let it cascade down, grow up its holder. It looks brilliant, a really good idea. And that's what we've got for you next week, a program packed full of great gardening ideas and lots of innovation. So you don't want to miss it. Now, is there a question that you've got from today's show that you might want to ask? Well, the simple way to do it is to visit our Facebook site, or if you want to check out videos from today's shows, fact sheets, or maybe you'd like to see some photos of beautiful Quebec, all you have to do is visit the Garden Gurus website. It's thegardengurus.tv. I'm Trevor Cochran. We'll look forward to seeing you next week for the Garden Gurus.